Welcome to the Advanced Freelancing Podcast. Every week, you'll hear strategies for building your online service-based business your way. And now, here's your host, veteran freelancer, author, and TEDx speaker, Laura Briggs.
Hey listeners, you know I'm always on the lookout for a new platform that makes the most sense for freelancers to join. And it's very rare to find one that I think is a good fit. But that's not true with today's episode. I'm very excited to share this one with you. I spoke with Lesley Pyle, and she is the founder of Hiringmymomcom, a boutique service connecting entrepreneurs and small businesses with top-notch virtual professionals across the country. She has a master's degree in public relations from the University of Stirling, Scotland, and a BA in journalism and public relations from Texas State University. She's been featured all over the place: Forbes, Entrepreneur, Wall Street Journal, and USA Today. And she and her husband live in Texas with 4 children. We talked all about how she got started way ahead of the curve before freelancing was even a thing, why she started a website designed to help connect small businesses to those looking to hire very qualified freelancers, and specifically moms, and what you can expect in thinking about deciding whether or not to sign up for Hire My Mom. So I'm thrilled to be able to share my conversation with Lesley with you. Be inspired by her journey and think about this as a new potential platform for your freelance work. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode. I am so excited to chat with my guest because I love finding new platforms and opportunities that are built by people who really know what they're doing. So my guest today is Lesley Pyle. Welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Laura.
I am very excited to chat with you about what you're doing with Hiringmymom.com, but why don't you give us sort of a brief introduction into who you are?
Yeah, absolutely. So I got my start 24 years ago when I quit my job pretty cold turkey to start freelancing. And as you can imagine, freelancing, working from home was not a thing back then. So I kind of had to invent the wheel as I went, or build the plane as I flew, kind of. But it was such a blessing for me to be able to figure out how to make it work, freelancing, working from home. I did that for about a year before I started my first website in '96. So some of your listeners may not have even been born yet.
This is true, but all that says to me is that you were well ahead of the curve. I mean, we have minor issues. Sometimes, people in positions like guidance school counselors or things like that, they don't recognize that freelancing is like a thing and can be a full-time career. But I can't even imagine when you started out, how did you get the courage to do that for yourself? I know for me, I stayed in my day job for 13 months. I was really scared to break out on my own. So I'm curious what sort of gave you that push to make the leap?
Absolutely. Yeah, I kind of look back and I'm surprised I did it too, because I don't consider myself a salesperson or a huge go-getter, but I had the motivation of just having my first baby. And so if I back up just a little bit, I had completed my master's degree less than a year before that. So I had huge career aspirations. I pictured myself on the 72nd floor with my stilettos and my briefcase climbing that corporate ladder. So never in my wildest dreams did I plan on working from home or being a stay-at-home mom or anything like that. But when I had my first baby, they put her on my belly and I was like, oh my goodness, I was not expecting this. So I did go back to work for 2 weeks. I was doing PR and marketing for a golf school in Austin, Texas. And I cried every single day at my desk. And I came home. I told my husband, I did not expect this, but I cannot do this. It's just not for me. And back then, working from home wasn't widely accepted. My employer was not interested in any kind of flex work or work from home, even though I asked. So I gave my notice 2 weeks and I just hit the ground running. And so, the internet wasn't really a thing, or maybe it was, and I just didn't know about it back in, this would have been the very early 1995. So I did it the old-fashioned way by basically going out, knocking on doors, calling people, networking the old-fashioned way until I got some clients. And in the meantime, we cut our budget everywhere we could. We sold one car, so we were a one-car family. We ate so many ramen noodles, I can't even tell you. We got rid of cable TV, and we just did what we had to do to make it work. And thankfully, slowly but surely, I was able to get my freelance business off the ground.
That's so inspirational, because I think a lot of times we see things today with marketing that make it seem like it's going to be really easy. Oh, if you just read this book or take this class, you'll be earning six figures as a freelancer immediately. And the truth is that a lot of people do start out like you did, a lot smaller, kind of jumping into this and saying, okay, I don't have the revenue just yet to, justify leaving my full-time job, but where can we make cuts so that this is something that I can really pursue, because it's what's most important to me in this season of life. And I work with a lot of freelancers, and women in particular, who find themselves in that situation. They've recently become moms, or perhaps they're raising a child with special needs, or there's some other concern where they want to be home. They need more flexibility than what a traditional job offers. And we're kind of in the perfect time for that, because technology is really making that possible, and so many more people are embracing remote work. So what was it like when you started building and scaling your freelance business from those early days?
Yeah. So it was kind of funny because, I did not tell any potential clients I worked from home, because it was like nobody worked from home and was considered professional back then. So I never lied, but I never offered that. So if I needed to meet with a client, I always suggested their office, and, that's convenient for them. So I never had anyone turn me down. And so it was just such a juggling act in those early days to get those clients and get the work. But I was fortunate. One of my clients was an accounting association, and I did their monthly newsletter and things like that. So it began to build where I had a constant stream of revenue, and then, they would refer me out to someone else. And so I only did, I would say, freelancing for about 2 or 3 years, because less than a year into starting it, I was like, okay, where are my other moms that are doing this? I can't be the only one. And that's when I launched my first website. And it was basically, this was before social media. So I was looking for a way to connect. I needed to connect and learn and network and support and that sort of thing. So I started a website called Homebased Working Moms, or HBWM.com. And it was basically like a virtual chamber of commerce, much like you get easily now with social media. But it was a way to bring moms together who wanted to work from home or who were working from home to kind of connect with each other. And I ran that up until I started, and even after I started Hiring My Mom in 2007, because as the trends were changing and more businesses were eager, or no, I won't say eager back then, but were more open to hire remote. I was like, okay, I've got all of these women that are so not desperate, but so eager to find a work from home job. They don't necessarily want to start their own thing. Wonder if I could find a way to connect them to these small businesses and entrepreneurs who don't want to hire full-time employees or employees at all. They want to hire freelancers for the most part. So that's where the idea for Hiring My Mom came along.
I love that. And it's such a great idea too, because now we have more people who are open to working with the best talent, regardless of where that talent is located. And I come across a very similar challenge working with a lot of military spouses. It's very difficult for them to leverage their past experience into either full-time remote work or freelance work. But that's really where they need to be, because they need that level of flexibility. So how has Hire My Mom sort of grown from when you first founded it?
Yeah. Well, I was fortunate that I had the mom audience was there. So it was easy for me to get the word out to them. So then fortunately, I mentioned that my background was PR and marketing. I put that hat on and really went to work getting the word out to small businesses, entrepreneurs, that this service was available. And again, this was before Upwork, Fiverr, and a lot of the freelance. There's a bazillion, different freelance and job sites now, but back then in 2007, there weren't very many. So, and I think there's something about hiring a mom that a lot of people just automatically feel a trust factor. And I think that really helped open the door to businesses. They're like, if they're going to hire someone from home, okay, I think moms would be more trustworthy, or they seem more trustworthy in a lot of cases. So I think that really helped. And then I was a writer for Entrepreneur Online for a while. So that was another good connection that I had to kind of introduce this concept early on.
Wow, that's so cool. And I think you're right. A lot of people do, which is a great thing that our society has at least changed a little bit, in that people are more willing to accept working moms who bring a lot to the table. A lot of them are very adept at keeping track of multiple projects, tasks, and priorities at any one time. And so I think it's just really great that more businesses are really seeing, hey, there's this whole untapped resource out there that could be perfect and could be just as or more productive working for me from home.
Are you curious about how to get started working as a search engine optimization writer? Always loved writing, but don't understand the technical elements? No worries, you can easily teach yourself. And this podcast episode is sponsored by the Advanced SEO Writing for Freelancers and Bloggers course. You can learn more all about how to choose keywords, how to pick topics for your clients, how to complete a content strategy audit, and how to write a fully optimized SEO piece of content writing that you can sell for $50 and up. Check out tinyurl.com/advanced SEO writer to learn more about this course and to enroll.
So I'd love for you to talk a little bit more about the type of mom who's right to sign up for your site. And then I guess that kind of leads into the second part, which is what kind of businesses or employers or clients are on your site as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of the moms, we have a kind of a mixture. Some of them are, already stay-at-home moms, and they're like, okay, my babies are out of the baby stage. They're either in preschool or school, and I would really love to work, but I'm not willing to, work an 8 to 5. I would really like to work, more of a flexible schedule, maybe 9 to 3 during school hours. So that's a big segment of our audience. And then we also have the corporate moms, or the moms that are in traditional jobs that are looking for a way to exit out of a traditional job to be able to work from home. And so we have a Facebook group where that question gets asked a lot. I'm working, I'm getting up at 4 a.m. I'm trying to build my side business. I want to be able to work at home. So it's, hard to leave that salary early on for so many people. So getting at least that first client is really huge as a way to say, okay, well, I can cut my budget only so much. If I can at least bring in, let's say $1,000 a month, then, maybe I can then leave my job and get the freelance business off the ground.
And I'm sure you've been involved in this for so long that what trends have you sort of seen either on the freelancer or worker side and also on the client side? How have things changed since you first started?
They've definitely, like I said, the acceptance of working from home. It's like, I don't think a lot of small businesses even bat an eye these days to hire someone remote. I think it's become very common and very appreciated, because so many people, even men that run a small business, so many of them are working from their home offices these days, because it's just so convenient to be able to not have to, drive a commute and dress up in a suit every day and that sort of thing. So I'm definitely seeing that trend, and more and more even medium-sized businesses that don't necessarily want to hire a full-time person for, let's say, social media or accounting. They'll hire a remote person to do those tasks, even if they're a brick and mortar.
Yeah, that's so interesting. What do you think are some of the challenges that people potentially face when they first start looking for that remote work? I know you mentioned that one of the challenges is I've cut my budget as much as I can, so I need this sort of at least bridge the gap with a specific income number in mind. What do you notice are some of the other challenges that people who join your site initially experience?
Right. There's two that come to mind. One is, depending on what your traditional job is, you may not have the skills that are conducive to a lot of the jobs that we get. So let's say you're a property manager. You're not going to find jobs on Hiringmymom for that type of work, obviously. But if you have a background, in social media, administration, accounting, web design, those sorts of things, you'll find more jobs in those areas. So I always recommend people, if you don't have the experience that's, a job that traditionally you can do at home, then get training, because there's so many training programs online that you can do for, virtual assisting or social media marketing, whatever it is that you're truly interested in. So that's one of my recommendations, is to really look at what's available before you quit that job, or if that's where you're at, so that you can be prepared. And also to have your resume and cover letter ready, because a lot of times I think people will join Hire My Mom or a site like that, look at jobs, and then they're like, oh, but I need a resume. So that kind of slows down the process. So I like people to be prepared. So once they join, once they sign up, they are able to hit the ground running and be able to apply for jobs right away.
One of the things that I want to address is it's often really hard for beginners to justify this idea of, hey, I might need to invest something to get this off the ground for me to find my first client, or for me to find that ideal fit. I come across this a lot with newer freelancers who are very hesitant to even pay for an affordable subscription to Flex Jobs, or to sign up and pay $14.95 a month to Upwork. But I think it's important to recognize that a lot of these platforms where you do need to invest some into your own future, whether that's taking a course, like you said, or whether that's paying a subscription fee, or all of that, is really an investment in your own future. It's an investment in you, which is one of the most solid bets that you can take. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about, how does someone get set up with your site? What are the payment terms they should expect? I mean, how are people all using it in the same way, or just people kind of come and grab an ideal job and then disappear? I'm just sort of curious what that looks like.
Right. Well, we have 3 subscription options. We used to only have 2, but we relaunched last April and added a trial, because we do have those people that are not, they're like, why do I have to pay to sign up for your site? I shouldn't have to pay. Well, it takes money to run a website, as most people know, and we go the extra mile in researching every job that's posted, because our goal is to be 100% scam free, because let's face it, there are job scams all over the place online if you've applied for any jobs. So my virtual assistant researches everyone before we add it to the website. So there's an expense in all, researching all of those. And so we have the week trial, which is $9.99. Then we have the one I think is the best fit, which is for 3 months, because I think it gives you plenty of time to see a lot of jobs and apply for several jobs, is $29.99. So basically $10 a month. And then we have our platinum package that's $99, and it's a 6-month package. It allows you unlimited resumes. So if you have different versions of your resume where you apply for different jobs and use different resumes, and it also allows you to be one of our featured candidates on the homepage. So it gives you a little bit more visibility.
That's amazing that you have so many different options for people. And so if you're really wondering, is there enough demand for my type of skill, and what kind of opportunities can I find on Hire My Mom, you could try it out for a week and make that investment, and most likely decide that there's something there for you where you could stick around for a while. I think that's a great opportunity for people. And I love the idea that you're focused on non-scams. I mean, I can't tell you how many times you've probably seen it too in these Facebook groups, where someone who has the best of intentions, it happens a lot to virtual assistants, but it affects everyone. They'll post, hey, I found this great gig. Does this sound like a scam? And it's like they list 7 things, and all 7 things are a red flag that this is most definitely a scam. And it's just, It's so frustrating. So it's great to know that there are different platforms out there that are making sure that, hey, this is a legitimate job. This is really not anything that's unethical or anything like that. I think that's so important. So what do you see as kind of the future of freelancing and remote work in the next couple of years?
I really think it's going to continue, because I think it's cost beneficial for small businesses to use freelancers and contractors to grow their business, whether they're a brick and mortar or, a virtual business. And I think we're just going to see the not just the moms, but I see now, more college graduates are looking to be the digital nomads, so that they can travel the world and work from wherever they are. And I just think it's a beautiful thing where we can use our skills. And, like I was saying earlier, I never imagined or wanted. My desire was not to just be a stay-at-home mom, even though there's, that's a huge job in itself. And it's just so wonderful to be able to use our skills, our experience, our knowledge, and be able to balance that however we see fit, whether it's you're looking to work 10 hours a week or 40 to 50 hours a week. On Hire My Mom, you might find 3 different clients to work for to get you to that if you're looking for 30 to 40 hours. Or if you're like, nope, 10 hours is good for me. I just want something to do, bring in a little extra money for vacations or whatever. So it's not like it was 20 years ago where basically you either had to work a part-time job or a full-time job outside of the home. So I just think it's so great that we have so many more options these days.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think the fact that there's so much flexibility in freelancing gives people a lot of opportunities to decide what being fully booked looks like for them, because it's not the same for every freelancer. And, one of the most recent interviews I did with someone on this podcast is a woman who works full time as an RN and is perfectly thrilled and happy to do it, but has this side business that she's purposely kept as a side hustle for quite a few years because of that. And so that brings up a great point of, if you're thinking about starting in the freelance world, and you're just kind of dipping your toes into the water, be clear about what your intentions are, because this can be as much or as little as you want. And I think that's one of the greatest things about essentially starting a business, where some of that framework is already built for you. It takes away a lot of the risk that people would traditionally face otherwise. Well, it's really been such a pleasure to get to talk to you. If people are interested in signing up for Hire My Mom or just checking out all the awesome things you're doing, where can they go to do that?
Yeah. So our website is Hiringmymomcom. And if they just want to see what types of jobs are posted, you can see that on the home page. There's like the last 5 jobs, and then you can click to load more and see, I think up to maybe 20 of the most recent jobs to get a feel for it. Because we always tell people, we don't want you to sign up if it's not a good site, or a good fit for what you're looking for. So that's why we like you to see what types of jobs are out there before you commit.
Oh, that's wonderful. Not enough sites really do that and kind of give you a behind the scenes to make it clear whether this is the right fit for you. So thank you so much for coming on the show. It was wonderful to get to speak with you. I'm so excited to check out Hire My Mom.